Och när jag var 10 år så blev jag blind över en natt. Jag ser inga hinder i mitt liv, men det finns en sak jag inte kan göra. Och det är att se någons ansiktsuttryck.
Simply direct the phone towards a person. The camera recognizes the emotion and AI translates it into a unique sound. This process works without an internet connection and in real time, giving the blind and visually impaired the chance to actually hear your smile. The app UX and interface were developed in close partnership with the visually impaired community. The sounds representing each emotion were crafted in cooperation with a visually impaired composer, and a special holder was created as a 3D open source file that could be printed by anyone, anywhere, and made using the app a seamless experience for the blind. Facing Emotions went live on the Google Play Store, promoted by a short documentary featuring visually impaired people from around the world. Digital and social channels in 22 countries were used to drive awareness of this unique technology powered by Huawei AI. The project created conversation in global and local lifestyle media and news channels, with over 340 million media impressions and over $1 million in earned media coverage.
Jag känner att jag är i ett skede nu i livet när jag vill skaffa barn. Jag behöver dig och ditt stöd som mamma.
This simple app proves how technology can help more people to see more of the world.
Cabrones. It's Juan Gomez on WMB, the sound of the road. Today we received at the studio a very strange letter with a tape inside. Check it out, amigos.
Everything had been pretty stable. Once everyone who was going to die had died at least. Even my parents. We'd all lost at least one parent. It seemed like it had been made for a different world. The museum of life we will never have.
We're the adults. We should protect them when we can.
Junie, there are mass graves 200 yards outside the window. Protect them from what?
From growing up faster than they already have.
I always wanted to be an astronaut. See space, the stars, the infinite nothing.
And now?
Now, it's about getting out of this place.
Do you think it's getting more dangerous, V?
What can you do if you want to raise maximum attention around the subject of gender equality and diversity in a country like Sweden? The Swedish spelling alphabet is the equivalent to the NATO phonetic alphabet. You know, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and so on. It's used by all major authorities to communicate over radio, and for some reason, it's 100% based on male names, conservative and unquestionable. Until the end of 2018, when we questioned it anyway. We launched a new version, including both female and culturally updated names, to make it represent what Sweden actually looks and sounds like today. Our suggestion was transmitted on a radio frequency used by the very authorities we wanted to reach. General call. General call. General call. Message to the police, Swedish Armed Forces, and other national authorities it may concern. The spelling alphabet you use every day. The new alphabet was heard loud and clear, but not only by the intended authorities. It sparked a nationwide debate. During the end of the campaign, it was the most liked, shared, hated, and debated issue in the country. All the major news channels featured the story.
Och där är ju symboltrams.
Ja, det låter ju bara udda att det bara ska vara herrarna.
And everyone had an opinion.
Korkat.
Så i sociala medier att folk blev otroligt provocerade. Jag tänker, det spelar väl ingen roll, bara alla är överens om vad det är för bokstav.
Man ska göra det jämställt på alla andra områden. Varför inte här?
Ett gott förslag, veckans förslag.
Absolut, en uppdatering som vi behöver.
Nej. Men man hittar på det här.
Jag tycker det här är ett bra förslag.
In the end, our new alphabet proved something that we suspected from the very beginning. Sweden may be far ahead when it comes to gender equality and diversity, but not nearly far enough. Over and out.
This Earth Day, Budweiser wanted to teach people that every drop of Bud in the United States would be brewed with 100% renewable electricity from wind power. That made us think, if the wind can be used to brew beer, maybe it can also be used to tell people about it being used to brew beer. So we passed on the traditional media planners and created the world's first ever radio campaign controlled entirely by the wind. Here's how it worked. We launched in Billings, Oklahoma, the home of Budweiser's wind turbine farm, Thunder Ranch. From there, we used NDFD National Weather Service's open source database to track the wind patterns across America. With every change in direction or speed, we'd adjust both our media buy and creative. Wherever the wind blew, our message did too, through bustling metropolises like Oklahoma City.
Hi, Oklahoma City, it's me, the wind. I was just in Billings, Oklahoma, and I'm gusting to you with an exciting announcement.
To quaint towns like Lake Ozark.
Hi, Lake Ozark, it's me, the wind. I'm traveling across America to let everyone know Budweiser is now proudly brewed with wind power.
To places that don't bustle at all, like Florida, Missouri, population 0.
Now, from the looks of things, no one lives here.
That's right, we bought a radio ad in a city where no one lives, because the wind doesn't care about things like population statistics. Suddenly, we weren't in Kansas anymore. In fact, we were almost in Canada.
And now that I'm only a quick gust from Canada, my odyssey is complete.
Eventually, the Wind's 96-hour marathon that covered 5 states, 24 towns, required 26 unique scripts, and stretched over 1,300 miles, came to an end. Press took over from there and extended the story of our campaign to the rest of the country, spreading the word that wind isn't only good at brewing beer, it's pretty good at advertising it too.
Since 2015, air raids in Yemen have destroyed homes, schools and hospitals without warning. But this ongoing conflict is increasingly disappearing from the Swiss consciousness. At the same time, the war sirens in peaceful Switzerland are tested every February to make sure that they still work. Isn't that absurd? That's why Amnesty International and Radio 24 transformed the entire national broadcasting area into an acoustic experience of war. Because the Swiss are required to turn on their radio in case of alarm. While the sirens were being tested outside, the sounds of war from Yemen were transmitted live for 2 minutes at the exact same time.
Wir werden jetzt eine Zeit lang simulieren, wie es in einem Kriegsgebiet tönt. Wir wollen mit dem niemand pikieren, aber wir wollen solidarisch zeigen.
das im Radio gehört, ich war im Auto und es war ein krasser Moment.
Ich lasse meine Schüler das erleben, damit ich mit ihnen diskutieren kann.
Die haben gedacht, was ist hier los? Die waren irritiert und das war genau der Zweck der Aktion.
An additional program on the topic activated all listeners to help restore peace in Yemen. The results of this radio-driven experience. Amnesty International pushed the boundaries of radio media. The number of listeners rose by more than 400%, making it the biggest Swiss radio audience ever. Donations increased by over 200%. More than 100,000 signatures were collected to stop arms exports. Thus, the annual War Siren Test turned into an acoustic memorial for the people in Yemen.
Le nombre de cas de violences sexuelles signalés à la police a bondi de 23%.
Une femme meurt tous les 3 jours sous les coups de son compagnon ou ex-compagnon.
In France, 80% of victims of domestic violence are too afraid to speak up. So instead, they suffer in silence. For the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, Marie-Claire, an iconic French women's magazine, published a special online feature to draw attention to the issue and to urge victims to speak up and get help. So, we really needed people to stop and listen.
I got broads in Atlanta.
And we did it by saying absolutely nothing. Introducing Loud Silence by Marie-Claire, a silent ad that uses silence to draw attention. We teamed up with Spotify and created the first ever 30-second silent ad to literally stop people in their tracks. We tricked them into picking up their phones and made them truly engage with our message. Our pioneering use of Spotify allowed us to put domestic violence at the top of the nation's agenda. 22,000 tweets about the campaign reached over 2 million people, generating thousands of conversations that gave victims a collective voice louder than they have ever experienced. Silence was their biggest enemy. It became their strongest weapon.
From the bathroom, he could hear the faucet drip into the puddle below. Drip, drip.
Our drains fill up with hair, grease, and gunk until they become clogged. But it's easy to ignore what you can't see. Drano wanted consumers to stop ignoring drain clogs. Introducing Tales from the Drain, an audio and visual experience that lures people into the terrifying world of drains. Spotify-enabled Out of Home served as gateways into horror stories. The story of red-haired love gone wrong.
Then, for a split second, he saw it. A putrid mass the size of a tennis ball, composed of thousands and thousands of molded red hairs.
The story of an aspiring hairstylist whose obsession comes back to haunt her.
Vanessa studied her work callously. The bangs were crooked. The bangs were always crooked.
The story of a man whose beard trimmings result in a horrible end.
Out of his sight, other disposed fragments from Brian's daily carnage were beginning to conjoin, swelling to form a new gelatinous entity.
Hosted on their own dedicated podcast, the stories were also printed using handset metal type for underground publications and promoted with sensor-enabled special built installations in the pipes of real bathrooms.
The creature's smell of decomposing flesh.
Reminding people that they should leave what's down there to us. Drano, unclog your life.
Big Ben have gone silent due to renovations, so what was that sound in London?
In food-obsessed London, most people wouldn't notice the arrival of another American food chain, not even Taco Bell. They would, however, listen to something that is unusually quiet. Where one bell was silent, another bell stepped in. We turned to a sound engineer and asked him to recompose the love child of Westminster Quarters using the Taco Bell chime.
The Taco Bell chime was actually made using an old 80s FM synthesizer.
We then created a mobile synchronized directed audio network and camouflaged the speakers using something every Londoner ignores. No, not pigeons. Rickshaws.
We're trying to create the impression of one thing happening on 3 separate speaker systems. So we need to sync those up perfectly, otherwise the illusion will be ruined.
With our mobile sound system strategically placed and triangulated, the Taco Bell chime was designed to appear to come from thin air. When the clock struck, we brought Big Ben back to life with a new Taco Bell accent.
It was so funny. We were seeing the woman's reaction.
She had to grab her hat. What? See that?
The chime was heard in London and all over the world.
Taco Bell is making noise in London, ladies and gentlemen.
Taco Bell opened up in London. Using Taco Bell's signature sound, we introduced our playful brand voice to the Brits, while giving the world a loud reminder of who we are. It was fun helping out the second most famous bell in the world. Now we'll focus on making tacos.
More than 46 million people in Brazil have some type of disability. And the ones with motor disability suffer with the overwhelming lack of accessibility. Based on the efforts to promote freedom and mobility, Ford created the Accessibility Mat, a car trunk mat redesigned to work as a portable accessibility tool. A piece of design created from a part that already exists inside the car. To use, you just need to take out the mat inside the trunk, put it in the back of the wheelchair, then fit it to the obstacle to go over it.
E aí, num determinado momento, surgiu a ideia de mapear a acessibilidade da cidade.
A microprocessor sends Bluetooth signals to the owner's cell phone. An app shows in a map the exact place where it was used. That way, the mat creates a database of places with lack of accessibility to share with local authorities and help them to build accessible cities.
Muito legal, de poder carregar uma acessibilidade.
The Accessibility Mat was launched during the 30th São Paulo International Auto Show. The innovation instantly became news, not only to the media and consumers,
This is an effective and thoughtful way to bridge the gap,
but also to the politicians, especially because of its potential in transforming the cities. Even Brazil's president himself, Michel Temer, paid a visit to Ford's stand to better understand the Accessibility Mat.
Te dá liberdade de saber para onde você quer ir, você pode. Te permite fazer essa ponte com o mundo, né?
In the current Indian elections, 900 million people will go to vote. This is the story of those who will be left behind. Mahatakavadi, 1,600 kilometers from the capital, is a small village in the heart of the Western Ghats. Young people here have moved to the city to find work, leaving behind women, children, and the elderly.
गाडी नाही काय नाही कसं काय जायचं लई लांब आहे 10-12 किलोमीटर पायी जावं लागतं कसं जाणार
The nearest polling station is a 10-kilometer walk across some of the roughest terrain in the subcontinent. And with no roads or transportation, 9 out of 10 people never got a chance to vote. Until now. took our cars out into the environment they were made for, ferrying people to their nearest polling stations so they could vote for the first time ever. Driving for over 11 hours in multiple trips, covering 800 kilometers. Making sure the voice of Maha Tekavari was heard loud and clear. Because in the world's largest democracy, no one should be left behind.